the UK government is making it progressively harder for immigrants to come and work in the UK, and the NHS, including healthcare jobs, is also getting much difficult. But in today's video, I will be sharing with you two key updates that I think is going to impact a lot of people who are planning to come to the UK as healthcare professionals, because this is what was released on the NHS employers website. And today we're going to decode exactly what that means for you as somebody planning to come to the UK as a healthcare professional or a carer in 2025. But before we move ahead, my name is Nikita and I make videos about moving to the UK as a healthcare professional, creating good job applications and landing those interviews to start your dream life in the UK if that's what you want. And if you haven't already subscribed to my channel on YouTube, now's your turn to do so. But also drop me a follow on Instagram. My handle is Physiotherapy in UK, where I release daily informative content about life in the UK. So let's get into the details of today's video. The first important update is about immigration rates. Now, for those of y'all who don't know, the UK has faced massively high numbers of immigration over the last 2 years. This has been steadily growing, where sometimes, it almost seems like the immigration has just exploded. In order to curb that, both the governments, that is the Conservative government and the Labour government, tried to put in a few action points to reduce it, and it has worked. So over the last year, they've noticed that the immigration itself has gone down quite a bit, which has actually helped with the immigration numbers. However, that being said, they still continue to be slightly high. And in order to tackle this, what the Labour government is now doing is that it is reviewing sponsorship licenses for the companies in the UK. Now, the most important places where this is happening is in care homes, which is what is right. And in these care homes, the UK government is actually reviewing their sponsorship license and seeing if all of the mandatory requirements are in place for these specific companies or businesses so that they can hire international recruits from overseas in order to fulfill some of the carer vacancies that are present right now. Now, since most of these companies and businesses are not meeting those mandatory requirements, a lot of their sponsorship licenses are getting cancelled. Now, why this is a bad news for international recruitment is because if you are sponsored from one of these sponsorship companies or one of these care home companies and their sponsor license is taken away, then if you are employed by them, your certificate of sponsorship is also considered invalid. And that just means that you now have only 90 days to try and find employment in the UK that offers you sponsorship. This puts people in a very tricky situation, especially if you are somebody who is coming with a family in the UK. So I would just say be aware of these sponsorship scams within the UK, especially if you have agents from India, say for example from Kerala, Punjab, because these are quite common and many of y'all are reaching out to me about it. So now that we've covered that, let's talk about another important update that has come out from the NHS side in terms of international recruitment that was given by the Home Office just on 13th of April. So I'll pull up my screen right here, but I will also be sharing a little bit more information about this in the description below. So feel free to check it out, guys. So it says right here that the Home Office announces new immigration policy changes. That is, the home immigration changes announced by the Home Office will be implemented from 9th April, will impact care workers, skilled workers and band 3 staff in the NHS. Now, what it has gone on to say is that this change was laid down by the Parliament on Wednesday, 12th of March 2025 and will impact the recruitment of overseas healthcare staff. The Home Office has introduced a fresh wave of immigration policies that will impact the health and care sector, including entry-level band 3 staff. Now, what are these changes? Well, the answer is right here. So from 9th of April 2025, the following changes will come into force. The first one is that care providers in England will seek to recruit new workers from overseas, or those switching from another visa route will first have to provide proof that they have attempted to recruit a resident from the UK. Now, what this just means is that, as you all know, that because of band 3 and band 4 level jobs not requiring HCPC registration, a lot of people who are present in the UK can actually go ahead and apply for these roles and probably be selected because they don't have a eligibility requirement of the HCPC. However, what this rule right here is suggesting is that if there is a care home or an NHS trust that is willing to recruit somebody at a carer level or a senior carer level or a band 3 level, then they are going to have to first provide proof that they haven't been able to recruit within the local residents of the area, within people living in England. Now, the good thing about this is obviously that this is only applicable to people in England, so jobs in England. Whereas if you are looking for a job in Scotland or Wales or Northern Ireland, then you should be absolutely fine. This rule only impacts care providers in England. The second thing that it then goes on to say is about the minimum salary thresholds. So as you can see right here, it says that the minimum salary threshold for skilled workers will increase from £12.82 per hour or 25,000 per annum from 23,200. So what this means to say is that right now at the minute, band 3 care workers or senior care workers or band 3 NHS professionals were being paid 23,200, which was the baseline standard salary. However, under the current rule or under the new rule that is going to come up from the 9th of April, the minimum salary levels within the NHS is going to have to be about 25,000. So as a band 3 professional, you might not meet the salary level because you're obviously not meeting that minimum threshold, and so your visa sponsorship may not be possible. However, if you are band 4 level, band 5, band 6, then you will be crossing that £25,000 salary threshold level, and so your visa sponsorship can be completed under the NHS. Now again, we've got to keep in mind over here that obviously the pay rises for the NHS do come into play from April onwards, and that might look slightly different again for band 3 level. So again, if you do have questions about pay rise, comment the word pay rise in the comments below so that I can make a more detailed video about it for you guys. But essentially, let's move on to some of the next points in terms of the visa updates. And this goes on to say that health and education occupations, including doctors, nurses, and allied healthcare professionals, will also see a minimum rate increase in order to reflect national pay thresholds, meaning that band 3 entry-level roles will no longer meet the salary threshold. And this is exactly like I explained to you right now. Now, just in terms of that, the article further goes on to say, what does this mean for NHS Trust? So, due to the increase in the salary threshold from April 9, entry-level band 3 jobs will no longer be eligible for international sponsorship. Employers will need to wait until the agenda for change for 25-26 pay award is announced to determine if it will be above the £25,000 salary threshold. And those band 3 roles that require renewal on the step point of 25,674 will meet the required skill and salary threshold levels and can continue to be sponsored. So what this just means to say is, like I've explained, if you are aiming for band 3 level roles or carer roles, and if you are not able to meet the £25,000 salary threshold, then at this stage your sponsorship will not be possible under a care home or an NHS trust. However, if the pay rise goes on in April, then they might reconsider that and relook at it, because the minimum level for NHS sponsorship is now £25,000. That's it for today's video, guys. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care.